And as the perceived disparity between incomes and inflation continues to grow, new CBS News polling shows many Americans don't feel relief coming from either sides of the political aisle. So let's go live now to CBS News Executive Director of Elections and Surveys, Anthony Salvanto. Hey, Anthony, can you break down these views for us?
I can. Good to talk to you, Julia. Let me start with this big number, which is 3/4 of Americans, like you said, feel that their incomes are not keeping up with inflation. Frankly, we have seen that so consistently in the polling over years, frankly. Now, the other part of this, though, like you alluded to, is the politics of it. And there's two pieces of this. One is, do they think the parties, as we head into this midterm year, can do something about cost of living? Well, look at this. I'll start with the Republicans. A majority of Americans say they feel like Republican policies right now actually hurt rather than help their cost of living. Some of that is tied to views of the president, too, because very often we have seen people saying that they don't think the Trump administration is focusing enough, that 78% not enough, on lowering prices. But I'm going to go back to that slide here because we also have to look at the Democrats. And here, they're a little bit better relative to the Republicans. Maybe Democrats will take heart in that. But at the same time, they're under 50% too on whether Americans think they'll help their cost of living, and also a little bit net negative on hurt. As I watch us head towards the midterms, these could be some of the most important numbers, Juliet, because can somebody get to a majority on that perception? Certainly going to be something to watch. Right now, the answer is no.
So, Anthony, what are most Americans saying about the war in Iran and when they think it will end?
So it's so important to break down the way that people feel about the conflict. When we ask them to describe it in their own words, the top responses I got, uncertain and frustrated. But let me unpack why that is for you. The first is this perceived lack of clarity. We've seen it in earlier polling about goals in the conflict. Here we see 7 in 10 feel like they don't get a clear understanding of what's happening in the Strait. And of course, back to the economy, we've seen that concern about gas prices too. So those two things are wrapped up in it. The other part of this, though, is the expectations. 3/4 say they feel like this has now been harder, more difficult conflict than the Trump administration, in their view, had expected. So those expectations lead to what they say in the polling could be a conflict, if they have any estimate about it at all, could be months, could be even years, is what most people say. Again, because of those expectations and the view, in their minds, that the war isn't going well and isn't meeting their perceived goals, Juliet.
All right, Anthony Salvanto. Anthony, thank you.